You talked about you mentioned pyramids a few times, the top of the pyramids. Can you explain that idea, the pyramid idea?
Yeah, it's a system of control, sometimes referred to as compartmentalization, where at the top you have the true knowledge of the organization or whatever you're setting up in the pyramid style. And the ideas will permeate down throughout the entire organization, and people become less aware and less aware as you go down. And you can see it in so many areas. Freemasonry, for instance, again, was around for a long, long time. When Adam Weishaupt set up the Illuminati, he saw Freemasonry, the system that it had set up through indoctrination and through various degrees, a perfectly designed way to bring good men away from God through various indoctrinations. And that, again, is another pyramid-style system that you can see how they use for control. And essentially, if you can picture pyramids within pyramids, see, all they need to do in order to, if you want to control banking, or you want to control education, or you want to control media, it's not necessary that you have everybody involved in those areas on your side. It's only necessary that you have the guy at the top. Once you place your people at the peaks of all these various pyramids, the ideas of all these organizations will permeate down to the lowest of the levels, and that's basically where the pyramid comes from. But what people need to remember is that we make up the base. They have no power without us, you see. And all it takes is for enough people to step out of the system to cause a crash. You know, if the corner of the pyramid's missing, well, what happens? It all comes tumbling down. And they know this. They know that what they're setting up is potentially a delicate deck of cards. But again, it's the perfect mechanism of control. So they utilize the pyramid. That's why you see the symbolism of the pyramid all over the place. The American $1 bill with the occultic all-seeing eye floating above the unfinished pyramid. It's unfinished because it's symbol of the work, the great work they call it, which they are working towards. Much like in the days of the Tower of Babel, you know, where they almost had that capstone put on it. That's the same thing. We're moving towards the uncompleted pyramid being finished, which will be the New World Order, one world government, one world religion, one world cash, total enslavement.
What does the all-seeing eye mean? I see that in a lot of different, see it in the $1 bill.
Yeah.
You see it in a lot of corporate logos.
The eye, when you really get down to it, is symbolic of their God. You know, the God that they worship. Again, like I said, they have an understanding of Christianity and the Bible, and particularly the story of the original sin. Now, they believe that God is the bad guy and the serpent was the good guy, because they believe that God was withholding knowledge from us. You know, saying that we cannot eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, the serpent was the one that said, no, you're not going to die like God told you. Of course, God was speaking about a spiritual death. He said, you'll gain knowledge. You'll become like God. You'll have the knowledge of good and evil. So in turn, they see the serpent as the good guy, and they see God as the bad guy, because the serpent gave them knowledge. They see God as withholding it. So essentially, the eye is literally the eye of Lucifer. It's the Luciferian light is what they're after, which gives them power and money and fame and all these things. So that's essentially the God they worship, and they symbolize it in the all-seeing eye, you know, that sees over everything.
Do you think it's possible that the New World Order could be brought along by some sort of a global awakening of people all awakening to the way government works and all starting to think alike, thus bringing about what they originally wanted? Maybe the New World Order isn't for them. Maybe the New World Order will be for truthers or?
Well, that's a very good point. But again, when it comes down to a unified spiritual awakening or a consciousness shift, a rise in a level, I mean, it's obvious. It's so much easier to control and to manipulate one consciousness than it is to control 6 billion individual ones. So that plays into the whole agenda of the New World Order. That's what the New Age movement essentially is all about. That we are evolving towards godhood. We are about to reach that next level in our stage of evolution. That we are moving towards godhood. Again, that's the lie of the serpent. You can be like a god. There is no God or devil. Sometimes that's the belief that, you know, I am God, you are God. This chair, we all make up this thing that is called God. And essentially what that does is it removes people away from a creator, and it makes you focus on yourself. Like I said, unwittingly, you are rejecting God, and you are going your own way. And that's the whole goal of the New World Order. So to say that what mankind needs is a spiritual awakening or a rise in consciousness so that we're all in this together to fight it, that's really a contradictory. I can't see how that would work, because that is the overall goal. I mean, when you want a one world religion and a one world government, you need everybody to be on the same page. So essentially, that's important in bringing about their system, is having everybody on the same page mentally and spiritually. And it seems to be that that's where this one world religion is heading. The actual religion will be, there is no God or Satan, you know, I am God. That seems to be the way the world is heading. And essentially, that is going to unite everybody into that kind of a consciousness, much like it was back in the time of the Tower of Babel. But again, God's not going to allow his people to be manipulated and controlled to that extent.
Do you have anything else that you wanted to mention is on your mind right now? Or?
Well, right now, I would just, you know, when people, they might say, okay, all right, let's say what you're saying is true. You know, what do I do to change or to affect this agenda? And basically, I can sum it up in 4 words, man. Get right with God. You know, people. When I mention even God or the Bible or Jesus or whatever, people put up a wall and they don't want to hear it. There's a reason for that. We've been conditioned to think like that, just like with everything else. So, number 1, reconnect. You know. With God, build that bridge that was broken long time ago, and that's once you do that, you've won the battle. I mean, there's nothing the New World Order can do to you once you've reconnected with God. You've won the battle. So once you do that, then it's all about spreading awareness. You know, start a website. You know, hand out flyers and DVDs. Contact your local representatives to ask tough questions to politicians. Just get more and more involved in trying to spread the truth, because that's really what this world needs.